Save Martha! Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name!
Sword Art Online is a complete train wreck. It's painfully boring, horribly written, and packed with some of the cringiest moments in anime. The story's a chaotic mess, full of plot holes so massive that they make it impossible to take anything seriously. It honestly feels like the writer had no clue what they were doing, and just kept throwing random twists in to keep things moving. The characters aren't characters, they're hollow shells. There's no depth, no growth, just bland personalities built to serve a tired power fantasy. They don't talk like real people, they don't feel like real people, and it's impossible to care about any of them. The show tries to act like it's exploring deep philosophical themes about life and death and technology, but it's all just shallow nonsense. It can't commit to a single idea, and it doesn't have the brains or maturity to pull off anything meaningful. Sword Art Online isn't just bad, it's a joke that takes itself way too seriously. And the fact that some people still call it a masterpiece is honestly baffling. People who like Sword Art Online must not know other media exist. That's the only explanation for why they're so obsessed with the show this flawed. If Sword Art Online is their idea of peak storytelling, then they clearly haven't seen anything with real depth, nuance, or basic competence. There's so much better stuff out there, and it's embarrassing that this is what some fans hold up as greatness. The gaming aspect of Sword Art Online is a total failure as well. None of the game mechanics make any sense. The rules constantly shift just to serve the plot, and nothing feels thought out or believable. It's obvious the writer doesn't understand how actual games work. If any of these games were real, they'd be torn apart by players, get overwhelmingly negative reviews, and die within a week. No one would stick around for such a broken, unbalanced mess. Sword Art Online also completely butchers mythology. It doesn't respect the source material or make any real effort to stay accurate. The show just throws in mythological names and concepts without understanding their meaning, twisting them into something unrecognizable. It's shallow, lazy, and feels like a cheap attempt to sound deep without doing any actual research. Worst of all is the Sword Art Online fan base. They treat the show with cult-like worship, acting like it's some untouchable masterpiece. They blindly praise every aspect of it and lose their minds if anyone points out its flaws. According to them, it's the best thing ever made, and anyone who disagrees just doesn't get it. It's exhausting trying to have a real discussion when the fan base refuses to accept even basic criticism. Don't even bother interacting with Sword Art Online fans. They'll just shut down any criticism, no matter how valid, and start defending the show like it's a personal attack. You could point out glaring plot holes or lazy writing, and they'll still act like it's flawless. It's like talking to a brick wall, completely pointless and a waste of time.
If you want something actually worth your time, check out Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. It's an epic film with stunning visuals, powerful themes, and unforgettable moments. Unlike the shallow mess that is Sword Art Online, this movie has real depth, emotion, and storytelling that leaves an impact. It's directed by Zack Snyder, who brings his trademark style and visual flair to every scene, turning the movie into an immersive experience. His use of striking visuals, slow-motion action, and dramatic lighting creates a unique atmosphere that really pulls you into the story. Snyder's direction gives the film a bold and cinematic feel that stands out from typical superhero movies, making it not just entertaining, but truly memorable. The writing is solid and keeps you hooked from start to finish. It balances intense action with meaningful character moments, making the story engaging and easy to follow. The dialogue feels natural and adds depth to the characters, while the plot moves at a steady pace that never lets the excitement drop. Overall, the writing does a great job of drawing you in and holding your attention throughout the entire film. The movie features insane and thrilling action scenes that keep you on the edge of your seat. Each sequence is carefully choreographed and packed with energy, making every fight and chase feel intense and exciting. The combination of practical effects and stunning CGI adds to the realism, creating moments that are both visually spectacular and adrenaline pumping. In this video, let's take a look at the movie. I'll be focusing on the Ultimate Edition. After that, we can check out the sequel, Justice League.
It's cool how there's a poster of the Mark of Zorro and Excalibur. This movie can make a lot of comparisons to those movies. In the comics, the Mark of Zorro was the movie that the Wayne family had seen at a movie theater before Martha and Thomas were killed by an armed thug. Also, Zorro is often portrayed as Bruce Wayne's childhood hero and an influence on his Batman persona. Furthermore, I've seen people say that the third act of this movie is very similar to what happened in the movie Excalibur. Remember this, it'll be very important later on. Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight Rises. It's interesting how this movie is connected with Man of Steel. Man of Steel was from Superman's perspective, but this movie is from the bystander's perspective. Everyone else is running away, but Bruce runs into the danger. Even though Bruce is a billionaire, he's still helping out normal civilians. Even though Bruce is the boss of a multi-billion-dollar company, he's still helping out his employees, saving others in the nick of time. Ben Affleck's performance as Bruce Wayne is fantastic. You can really see the anger in his eyes. Bruce is comforting a young girl who had just lost her mother. Bruce knows what that feeling is like since he had also lost his mother when he was young. The Wayne Financial Building logo here is a nice touch. It shows that Bruce's hatred of Superman is on a more personal level. Sharing a Coke. In the comics, Jimmy Olsen is a friend of Superman and Lois Lane. You can tell that Lois trusts Superman here, neither of them even needs to say anything. Delta Charlie 27 is a reference to DC Comics issue number 27, the issue that debuted Batman/Bruce Wayne. 1939 is a reference to the year that DC Comics issue number 27 was released. The number 52 here is a reference to the 52 parallel worlds in the DC multiverse and the company's new 52 universe. This guy's holding a picture of President Richard Nixon. This is a reference to Zack Snyder's other movie, Watchmen. The End Is Nigh is yet another Watchmen reference. The way that the audience is introduced to Batman is really cool. It almost feels like a horror movie. The new Batcave looks really nice. Mark Zuckerberg is good at basketball. The Cherry Jolly Rancher here is a reference to the red pill. The red pill represents knowledge, freedom, and the painful truth of reality. In the comics, Kahina is a seer and member of Aquaman's team, the Others. Bruce's nightmare here shows that he has still not gotten over the loss of his mother. It's also important to note that his mother's name is Martha. This will be crucial later on in the movie. The new Batsuit looks really cool. This is actually Robin's uniform. It means that Robin was killed by the Joker before the movie and Bruce is still dealing with the loss. Vocabulary lessons. Compliments, Joker reference, Superman saving people montage. I'm going to give one virtue for each one. Neil deGrasse Tyson, another Watchmen reference, figuratively of course. Iron Fist, 1938 is the year that the first Superman comic debuted, except for everyone watching this movie. Carl's Jr., Darkseid reference. Batman looks really cool in this trench coat, very formidable and menacing. This whole scene is actually one continuous shot. The Flash cameo, I can't wait to see Ezra Miller as Barry Allen / The Flash. The paper scattering indicate that the whole nightmare sequence wasn't just a dream. The conversation between Bruce and Alfred here is very well done. Both actors do a great job as their roles. The Wizard of Oz reference. The Batmobile chase scene here is really cool. Awesome. Batman's reaction to seeing Superman is outstanding. It's a mix of surprise, fear, and anger. The first confrontation between Batman and Superman here is fantastic. Batman's bat voice is also really good. Mother knows best. That's pretty deep. That was so sudden it honestly caught me off guard. Skrillex with short hair. Once again, that was so sudden and it caught me off guard. Superman's reaction here is very genuine. No matter what he does, he always ends up disappointing people. You can see the sadness, frustration, and defeat in his eyes. Henry Cavill does a fantastic job in this scene. Great interaction here between Superman and Lois. You can tell that Superman feels he let Lois down. Once again, neither of them even needs to say anything. Another great scene here between Superman and Lois. I like how Lois touched the S on Superman's suit after she said hope. In Man of Steel, we learned that the S is actually a Kryptonian symbol for hope. Batman training montage is pretty awesome. Anyone else excited for the upcoming Wonder Woman movie? Nice reference to Icarus from Greek mythology. Great scene here with Superman and his adoptive father. Superman felt lost and he needed guidance. The final words in the conversation put Superman on a more human level. It shows that Superman also has people he cares about and he's not so different from a normal person. Another great scene here between Bruce and Alfred. Definitely one of the best lines in the entire movie. Alfred knows that Bruce is most likely going on a mission. If Bruce dies, it will be the end of the entire Wayne lineage. The mech batsuit looks amazing. The Riddler Easter egg. Terrio Janitorial is a reference to Chris Terrio, one of the writers of this movie. Street puns. Superman saving Lois. I know that many people have said that Jesse Eisenberg doesn't fit the character of Lex Luthor, but this scene is really good. Wow, Lex Luthor isn't even intimidated one bit by Superman. Another great line, it reveals the inner struggle of Superman. Superman constantly tries to remain righteous, but this line shows that he's losing faith in humanity. Another cameo of the Flash. Aquaman cameo, Cyborg cameo. Also, it seems like Miles Dyson hasn't learned his lesson from Terminator 2. The moment we've all been waiting for finally begins. This fight scene here between Batman and Superman is very impressive. The uh-oh moment here is actually pretty funny. Ben Affleck does a fantastic job delivering this line. I know that many people have been criticizing the Martha scene, and I can see how it might not work for everyone. However, it does make sense in context. We're shown throughout the movie that Bruce still has not gotten over the loss of his parents, especially his mother. Bruce's parents getting murdered is what drove him to become Batman. Bruce became Batman so that nobody else had to endure the pain of losing loved ones. Batman sees Superman as a threat to humanity. To Batman, Superman is a literal god that can kill countless people if he wanted to. However, the Martha scene is what humanizes Superman. It shows that Superman also has people that he cares about. In this moment, Superman was helpless and he couldn't save his mother. This is what it was like for young Bruce when his own mother was murdered. Bruce is able to relate and connect with Superman because he has experienced the pain and trauma of losing his mother. Bruce was not able to save his own mother, but now he has a chance to save another Martha. Even more great dialogue between Bruce and Alfred. The new Batwing looks really good. The fight scene here is very well done. Ben Affleck does a great job as Batman. Saving your friend's mom. Alice in Wonderland reference. Elmer Fudd reference. Jesse Eisenberg does a great job delivering his lines in this scene. Anderson Cooper. The fight scene here between Superman and Doomsday is really cool. In the comics, Stryker's Island is a metropolis prison that holds some of Superman's most dangerous enemies. Gal Gadot's performance as Wonder Woman in this movie is amazing. I love how the Wonder Woman theme plays every time she makes an appearance in this movie. The final fight scene here is really epic. I've gotta give credit to this movie for the amazing fight scenes. Superman saving Lois. I know many people have said that Wonder Woman or Batman could have just thrown the Kryptonite spear, but there's several reasons why it had to be Superman. First, Wonder Woman and Batman were preoccupied. Second, Superman flew the spear with force. Batman would not be strong enough to penetrate Doomsday's skin. Third, Lex Luthor created Doomsday for the sole purpose of killing Superman. It's appropriate that Superman is the one that ends up killing Doomsday. Fourth, if Superman gave the spear to Wonder Woman or Batman, it might have looked like he was a coward and it would have lessened his sacrifice. In the movie, we learn that Superman has always been trying to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. Superman is always going to be selfless, and he'd rather sacrifice himself than risk another person's life. The part where Doomsday pierces the S symbol on Superman's chest is a really nice touch. The S symbol represents hope, and it shows that Doomsday has killed the symbol of hope. Self-sacrifice. This is the villain of the Justice League movie, Steppenwolf. Lex Luthor is finally bald. The newspaper articles here actually make sense and they aren't complete gibberish. That's actually Deborah Snyder, the producer of the movie and wife of the director Zack Snyder. Hey, it's that IHOP guy from Man of Steel. This is a very fitting quote. Also, it's the same priest from Man of Steel. Justice League foreshadowing. This message is very powerful. It shows that we're all heroes. AC-23-1940 is a reference to Action Comics number 23, the first appearance of Lex Luthor. The comic was released in 1940. Lex Luthor's prisoner ID is 16-TK-421. TK421 is actually a reference to Star Wars.
As you can see, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is far better than Sword Art Online in every way. The movie has great writing with complex themes and interesting characters that make the story much more engaging. Each character has their own unique struggles and development that add real depth to the narrative. The action scenes in Batman v Superman are amazing, intense, well choreographed, and exciting from start to finish. The visual effects are fantastic, creating immersive and powerful moments that really draw you in. The film keeps you hooked all the way through without losing momentum. Director Zack Snyder's style is a perfect fit for this kind of story. He blends dark and dramatic tones with epic scale and emotional weight, bringing the comic book world to life in a way that feels authentic and fresh. It's really impressive to see Snyder's unique take on superheroes, especially his portrayal of Superman. Rather than just presenting him as a typical hero, Snyder elevates Superman to almost a godlike figure. This approach adds a rich mythological layer to the character, making him feel larger than life and deeply symbolic. The film explores profound themes about power, responsibility, and humanity. It questions what it truly means to be a savior or a god among mortals, and the challenges that come with such immense power. This depth gives the story more weight and invites viewers to think beyond the usual hero versus villain narrative. Visually, Snyder's style supports this vision perfectly. The dramatic lighting, epic battle scenes, and grand scale make Superman's presence feel monumental and awe-inspiring. It's not just about spectacle, it's about capturing the essence of a legendary figure who embodies hope and fear simultaneously. This portrayal sets the movie apart from many other superhero films by giving it a darker, more philosophical tone, while still delivering thrilling action and emotional moments. It's a bold and fresh take that resonates with audiences looking for more than just simple heroics. On the other hand, Sword Art Online doesn't measure up. Its storytelling often feels shallow and repetitive, with little focus on character development or meaningful plot progress. The pacing can drag, and the action lacks the intensity and creativity found in Batman v Superman. While Sword Art Online has its fans, it does not offer the same level of engagement, visual impact, or narrative complexity. Overall, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is the better choice for anyone looking for a thrilling and well-executed film. Now here's an analysis of Justice League.
The DC intro logo at the beginning of the movie here is definitely pretty epic and deserving of a merit. Superman not answering the question here is actually a really good choice. Now it's up to the viewer to determine the best thing that Superman has done. Whoa, you can actually see Batman in the reflection here. That's some nice attention to detail. Also, the dark and gloomy vibe of Gotham is a really nice touch. That's how Gotham should be portrayed. Very awesome scene here. It's cool how Batman tackled the Parademon in midair. Nice Easter egg here. Janice is a reference to one of Batman's villains, Black Mask. Awesome fight scene here between Batman and this Parademon. Nice David Bowie and Prince Easter eggs here. The statue that Wonder Woman is standing on here is actually a statue of the Greek goddess Themis, or better known in modern society as Lady Justice. That's definitely a nice touch. Also, it's cool how the Wonder Woman theme song plays when she appears. Awesome fight scene here between Wonder Woman and these. That's pretty awesome. It's cool how Wonder Woman blocked all those bullets. Jason Momoa was a great choice to play Arthur Curry / Aquaman. He definitely does a great job. Pretty hilarious conversation here between Bruce and Alfred. That's a nice reference to Batman Returns. Pretty hilarious moment here. The actor playing the prison officer here is actually Mark McClure, the same guy who played Jimmy Olsen in the 4 original Superman movies. That's definitely very fitting. Very heartfelt conversation here between Barry and his father. That's pretty deep. Silas is actually the monster here, not Victor. Also, Ray Fisher was a great choice to play Victor Stone / Cyborg. He definitely does a great job. Kieran Hines' voice definitely fits Steppenwolf. He sounds very menacing and intimidating. Awesome fight scene here between Steppenwolf and the Amazons. That's pretty awesome. This movie definitely has some very impressive action sequences. Pretty hilarious moment here. Pretty hilarious conversation here between Martha and Lois. Nice reference to Steve Trevor. This entire flashback sequence is pretty awesome. This movie definitely has some very impressive visual effects. Nice Green Lantern cameo. This is actually Yalan Gur. In the original comics, Yalan Gur was the protector of planet Earth and the rest of Sector 2814. He died after crashing against planet Earth like a meteor. After he died, Alan Scott found the meteor called Starheart, and that turned Alan Scott into the first Green Lantern of the comics. I've gotta give this movie a merit for the Blackpink As If It's Your Last song playing here. Ezra Miller was a great choice to play Barry Allen / The Flash. He definitely does a good job. Also, it's fitting how Barry Allen said the guy in the picture is Jewish. Ezra Miller is actually Jewish in real life. I've gotta give this movie a merit for the Rick and Morty episode playing in the background here. The scene shows Rick and Summer defeating the devil, which mirrors the actions of the Justice League in this movie, as Steppenwolf is an allegory for Lucifer. That's a nice reference to Gorilla Grodd, one of the Flash's villains. That's pretty hilarious. I've gotta give a merit for that line. Very heartfelt conversation here between Cyborg and Wonder Woman. Awesome fight scene here between Aquaman and Steppenwolf. J.K. Simmons was a great choice to play Commissioner James Gordon. He definitely does a good job. Pretty hilarious moment here. Pretty hilarious moment here. Very sincere conversation here between Batman and the Flash. Awesome fight scene here between Wonder Woman and Steppenwolf. This is a very awesome scene. It's cool to see the Flash's powers in action. Pretty hilarious moment here. That's pretty awesome. It's cool to finally see Aquaman in action. Pretty hilarious moment here. Pretty hilarious moment here. It's funny how Aquaman stole that screwdriver when no one was looking. Very heartfelt conversation here between Bruce and Diana. Nice Pet Cemetery reference. Very sincere conversation here between Bruce and Alfred. Nice bonding moment here between Cyborg and the Flash. Whoa, you can even see the Flash's reflection in Batman's eyes here. That's some nice attention to detail. Nice Pet Cemetery reference again. Awesome fight scene here between Superman and the other Justice League members. The scene is pretty epic. It's definitely without a doubt one of the best scenes of the entire movie. It must be weird for the Flash because he's finally up against someone who's just as fast as he is. Awesome fight scene here between Superman and the Flash. Awesome fight scene here between Superman and Wonder Woman. That line is pretty epic. It's a nice callback to Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. So Lois Lane was the contingency plan. That's what the Flash meant when he said that Lois was the key in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Pretty hilarious moment here. That's actually the pistol that Joe Chill used to kill Bruce's parents. That's definitely a nice Easter egg. Very heartfelt conversation here between Diana and Bruce. Clark Kent's red and black plaid shirt here is a nice Easter egg. Jeff East actually wore a similar shirt when he played a young Clark Kent in the original Superman movie. Very touching moment here between Martha and Clark. Pretty hilarious moment here. This is a very impressive action sequence. This movie definitely has some great visual effects. Awesome fight scene here between Aquaman and these parademons. Awesome fight scene here between Wonder Woman and Steppenwolf. This is a very cool action scene. The Justice League members work well together. It's cool how Wonder Woman saved Aquaman here. As I stated before, the Justice League members work well together. Awesome fight scene here between Superman and Steppenwolf. Pretty hilarious moment here. That's pretty awesome. It's cool to see Superman lifting up an entire building on his own. Pretty hilarious moment here. It's cool to finally see Superman's ice breath ability in action. Great use of slow motion here. This is a very epic scene. That's actually Cyborg's iconic catchphrase from Teen Titans. Very sincere conversation here between Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. It's funny how Bruce bought the entire bank instead of just buying the house. That's a nice reference to the comics. In the comics, Barry works for the Central City Police Department Scientific Detection Bureau. That's where the accident happens that gives Barry his superpowers. Awesome mid-credits scene here. This is actually a direct reference to the numerous races between Superman and the Flash in the comics, like Superman Volume 1, number 199. In the comics, Superman and the Flash have had occasional races to decide who's the fastest man alive. It's fitting how Lex Luthor has a Dutch flag on his boat here. During the popular Ed McGuinness artwork issues of the early 2000s, Lex Luthor ran for office of US President. He and his family were described as immigrants from Holland. Awesome post-credits scene. Deathstroke's armor here looks pretty cool. It's cool how this movie ends on a cliffhanger. This actually leaves a lot of options for a sequel. It hints at the creation of either the Legion of Doom or the Injustice League.
Sword Art Online
Dead. Bury him.